Welcome into another episode of Trend or Trap for Tuesday, April 28th. I am Dan Karpuc. We've got a loaded slate across the NBA playoffs, MLB, and NHL playoffs tonight. And as always, we're using the TrendsCenter data to separate what's real and what's noise. I've got 3 bets lined up, one in each sport, backed by strong ROI-driven trends. But the question remains for each. Is it a trend to tail or a trap to fade? Let's get right into it, and let's start with the Hawks at the Knicks. This series is tied 2-2, Game 5 coming up tonight. It's going to be a pretty great one, I think. Really close, tight-knit, and gritty matchup between these two teams. And here is a trend to consider. Since January 30th, 2025, when the Hawks scored 115 or less points in their last game and had at least a day of rest, the over has gone 27-11. That's 71.05% for plus 14.9 units, 35.65% ROI. Now the question remains here, is this a trend? Are we going to go with the over 213.5, or is it a trap, and should we go with the under? I'm going to say this is a trend, and I'm going to go with the over 213.5. This is the lowest total in the series so far, which makes sense. Game 1 ended with a 215 total, under the 217.5 closing total. Game 2, 213 total points, under 217.5 closing total. Game 3 ended with 217, over the 214.5, which is the only over in this series so far. And Game 4 ended with 212 total points, which is under the 215.5 closing total that it have. There's no denying that this is going to be a physical dogfight once again, but there are a couple areas here that I identified where positive regression could come into play. First, the Hawks have not knocked down wide open shots where defenders are 6+ feet away on the NBA.com dashboard in this series. So in fact, they've converted just 5 of 16.3 wide open long range looks in this series. That's second worst out of the 16 playoff teams. So those wide open shots that they are getting, they are just not making. During the regular season, for context, they hit 8.2, which is 3.2 more than the 5 that they've hit in this series, of 20.9 such looks. So that's 39.1% in comparison to the 30.7% that they've shot in this series. If they convert even just a few more open shots in Game 5, that would help the over hit here, most likely. Secondly, the Knicks have not moved the ball around as much as they did in the regular season. During the regular season, 46.6% of their 2-point makes were unassisted, which is right in the middle of the league, ranked around 15th. But in these playoffs, 55.9 have been. That's second most out of the 16 playoff teams, as their isolation play types have increased from 7.6 to 10.3 per game. Jalen Brunson can't do it all, and Atlanta's shown that they have the personnel to match up with him. And in order for this Knicks team to really click offensively, they'll need multiple contributors. If Mike Brown preaches finding the open man, playing that really team style of ball, if guys like Mikal Bridges can finally get it going, OG Anunoby can finally get it going, and get those multiple contributors where Josh Hart's knocking down shots, Cat is knocking down shots, and they space the floor, I think that we can see a different outcome here in Game 5. And I think it's time for that to happen, to be honest. I think it's pretty clear that Jalen Brunson cannot do everything on his own. And this is most likely, if that happens, this would be an up-tempo, more offensive upside as well. So all in all, I'm going to roll with the 71.05% trend, and I'm going to bet the over at this deflated number. Moving on to the MLB. We're going to go with the Yankees at the Rangers, and we're going to ask, are we going to go over or under 7.5 runs? Here's the trend to consider. Since 2024, when the Rangers, priced between plus 150 and minus 270, have hosted a non-division opponent with a total less than 9.5, the under has gone 72, 36, and 4. That's 66.67% for plus 32.4 units and a 26 8.3% ROI. So the under in this spot has hit 2/3 of the time, essentially. Are we going to say that this is a trend to tail or a trap to fade? Well, if there is a different pitching matchup, I'd say that this is a trap. But I'm going to say that this is absolutely a trend. Jacob deGrom versus Cam Schlittler. I'm going to say this is definitely a trend here. Through 5 outings, deGrom is 2-0 with a 2.13 ERA. He's off to another sensational start. 35 strikeouts, 20 hits, and 25 in 1/3 innings. Per Baseball Savant, he ranks in the 95th percentile for K percentage, 34.7%, 88th percentile for fastball velocity, 97.1%. So he's back at full health. It's easy to see that. 86th percentile for whiff percentage, 32.2%, 83rd percentile in overall pitching run value, and so on and so forth. He's back at full health, and I hope he stays healthy for the majority of the season finally. I really want to see how he can piece things together at this point in his career. Meanwhile, Cam Schlittler, 3-1 with a 1.77 ERA, has been even more dominant. Per Baseball Savant, he holds 100th percentile fastball run value, 99th percentile pitching run value, 99th percentile chase percentage, 41.1%. That's insane. 97th percentile walk percentage at just 3. 92nd percentile xERA, 2.31. 89th percentile fastball velocity, 97.2, and 89th percentile K percentage at 30.8%, among many other impressive metrics. Both of these pitchers, if you look at Baseball Savant, they have it in red if you are basically dominant in anything, and both of these guys have bright red all over their profiles so far. I absolutely love the pitching matchup as far as the lack of runs is concerned in this one. I think both offenses are going to struggle mightily. Also, factor in the fact that Globe Life Field has graded out as the most pitcher-friendly park in the majors over the last 3 seasons, and I will gladly back the under here. I keep on saying over and over and over again, Globe Life Field, take the under, and it is definitely something to think about. Just like we think about Coors Field and those inflated totals, we need to start thinking about Globe Life Field in the complete inverse relationship. And luckily for us, the sportsbooks haven't adjusted to that yet. So until they do, let's go with the under 7.5 in this spot. Finally, the Ducks at the Oilers for Game 5. The Ducks are up 3-1 in this series, so the Oilers need to win this to stay alive. Let's consider this trend. Since January 22nd, the over has gone 21, 9, and 4. That's 70% for 11.1 units of profit, 29.68% ROI in Oilers games with totals of 6 or higher. So total is 6.5, and it's actually juiced here quite a bit, as I'll get to in a second. But are we going to back the over or the under? I'm going to go with the over. And for a few reasons here. Anaheim leads the series 3-1, like I mentioned. If you like goals, definitely tune into this one. So far, the teams have combined for 7, 10, 11, and 7 goals in the 4 games of the series. And even though this is juiced to the overs, minus 155 to minus 160 across the industry right now, I don't really care. These teams have both taken advantage of their power play opportunities in this series. Anaheim's gone 6 for 12 with a man advantage. That's pretty crazy. Edmonton, 3 for 10. Leon Draisaitl actually just returned for the Oilers as well. And while Connor McDavid isn't at 100%, I think Edmonton's going to benefit from the fact that this is their 80th playoff game together since 2022. Most in the NHL during that span. I expect the Ducks to continue to play loose and free while the Oilers put their best foot forward in front of their home crowd. And remember, they're playing with desperation. When a talented team like this plays with desperation, I definitely am going to bet the over here. That's where their strength is. I'm not going to overthink this one. Even with the juice, I'll take the over. That's going to do it for today's episode of Trend or Trap. We broke down 3 plays backed on strong historical edges, and in all 3 cases, I'm buying in. These are trends to tail, not traps to fade. As always, make sure you're shopping for the best number, managing your bankroll, and staying disciplined with your process. If you enjoyed the breakdown, please be sure to subscribe. drop a like, and follow along for more betting insight powered by TrendsCenter. I'm Dan Karpuc. Good luck with your bets, and I will catch you on tomorrow's episode.